Hey guys, if you're an artist or an aspiring artist, you love pens. And from the Pigma Graphic One to Tombow pens with their brush tips to the Pigma Sakura Sensei pens, amazing for artwork, including Micron pens, roller balls, the list goes on. And it's really fun to collect pens. They get expensive and pens run out of ink, sometimes at the least opportune moments. So it's nice to have a daily tool that you can use out in the field sketching, and that's where fountain pens come in. I use these Jinyao Chinese fountain pens. First thing is, do not use India ink in your fountain pens. That includes Speedball Super Black India ink, which I really like. These are only for brushes, as well as the highly pigmented acrylic ink. It's a good way to ruin a fountain pen. There's no bringing the nib back after it's been clogged up with viscous India ink. So you must use fountain pen ink, and that's why I label my fountain pen ink bottles pen, so I know exactly what's going where. This is the Kohinoor fountain pen ink. I really like it. Higgins makes a nice fountain pen ink that they call India. And if you're in the field and worry that you're going to run out from your inkwell, which in my experience, a full inkwell lasts over 2 hours, 3 hours of non-stop sketching. So there's really no concern about that. But if you want to be on the safe side, just get yourself a small vial and fill that up and put that in your art case or your backpack as you're out about on your sketching. So when you get a fountain pen, the first thing to do, there's often some kind of an oily finish from the factory. And what I often do, and if your nib clogs up through usage, or if it crusts up, if it hasn't been used for a while and your ink's not running, just get yourself an old toothbrush and any kind of bar soap or liquid dish detergent, and just hit that and wash it off, and then dry that off, and that will cure most problems as far as the nib of your pen and getting flowage into the nib, as well as removing any solvents or oils from the factory. Now, if you go to write with your pen and you've got ink in your inkwell, but it's not writing, there could be a chance that you've got some air gap in there. You can see that air space. And what you want to do is twist the mechanism until you've just got a bead of ink, or like half a bead of ink, protruding just off the top there. And then stick that back in the nib mechanism, and you will be off and writing usually from that. I always shake my ink before refilling, just to get any pigment that may be on the bottom of the bottle. Now this bottle is about half empty, so you kind of have to eyeball it, and I want to sink that cartridge right about there into the ink and put pressure on the edge there, and then twist it, in my case, clockwise. Your inkwell may differ depending what manufacturer you have. And I give that a little tap. You can see that's a full inkwell. And then I always have a paper towel or napkin handy, and just take off any excess residue that may be around the edge there. And then again, feed up that just so it's on the top of the inkwell, and then put that back into your nib, and you are good to go. Another tip I'd like to tell you guys is that, the tines of a nib, they have a tendency of splaying, the more you use them, just like a dip pen, same principle. So what I like to do sometimes is, especially when I'm getting my ink running after hitting it with the toothbrush or rinsing out the nib, I like to go on the back side of the nib and run that, put some pressure on that, and run that down a piece of paper, kind of like crosshatch style, just to kind of flatten out that nib before resuming using it in its regular fashion. And that way I seem to be pretty successful at keeping the shape of my nibs for years. Thanks for watching, you guys. I look forward to reading your comments about some of your favorite fountain pens, as well as some of your favorite fountain pen ink. In this little vial here, you may have noticed that this is actually a Noodler's Borealis Black. They make very good ink, Noodlers, and if your budget allows for it, you may want to get yourself some Noodler's ink.